Donald Trump may not be going anywhere after Tuesday, but neither is Attorney General of Arizona, Kris Mayes. And she's certainly not going to be dismissing the indictment, the state court indictment against 18 people in the fake elector scandal and scheme that was run by Donald Trump and his henchmen. They're going to remain indicted with a trial a year from January, including John Eastman, Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, Mike Roman, and others. Makes for an awkward moment with the Trump transition team, who may be trying to put these indicted people back into the White House, but Kris Mayes is not dropping the case. I'm going to go over all of this right here on the Legal AF YouTube channel. Can I just say it out loud? Now more than ever, we need you, your fellowship, your community, your alliance with us, shoulder to shoulder. Hit the subscribe button. We've added 30,000 people to this channel alone, this pro-democracy channel, since Tuesday, for a reason. Because here is going to be the intersection of law and politics, to hear us talk about and analyze and explain to you the thousands of cases that are going to be filed against Donald Trump, his administration, his bad actors, his executive orders, in federal courts all around the country, and how the attorney generals of Democratic states, and even states like Arizona that didn't go for the Democrat this time, how they're going to handle what happened in 2020 and what's going to happen in the future. Let's focus now, right now. Hit the subscribe button. And I'm at the intersection, Michael Popok, talking about Kris Mayes. Kris Mayes, we've talked about her. We've extolled her virtue. We've had her on the Midas Touch Network in an interview. Kris Mayes was just asked point blank on an MSNBC show this past weekend after Tuesday's election if she was going to dismiss that inner circle of Donald Trump and absolve them of their indictment. And she said, no, I have no intention of breaking up the case, dismissing these people, leaving the fake electors, or anything of the sort. And none of this Donald Trump can do a thing about. He can't pardon. He can try to punish. Watch for Donald Trump to try to use Congress, because he's the puppet master, and the senators, and more importantly, the House members, to try to withhold federal funds from states like Arizona, who continue to go after his henchmen. That is going to happen. That'll be another hot take for me down the road. But for right now, Kris Mayes is not going to kowtow to anyone. Okay? She said on her interview over the weekend that a grand jury in the state of Arizona decided that these 18 individuals who engaged in an attempt to overthrow our democracy in 2020 should be held accountable. So we won't be cowed. We won't be intimidated. Attorney generals are going to play a very important role moving forward. What it means on this particular indictment is the fake elector scheme and scandal is going to go forward with a trial in January 2026, so says the presiding trial judge in Arizona. He already declined. He denied the attempt to dismiss it, arguing that it was some sort of political persecution instead of prosecution. So this case is going forward. You know, they can try all they want to try to drag the case to federal court where they can. It's not going to happen. And there's nothing they can do about it, except, as I said, don't put it past Donald Trump to try to squeeze through Congress the states of Arizona and other blue states that are going to go after Donald Trump and his policies. There are 17 states, Nevada's not one of them, but there are 17 states that have the trifecta of Democratic control from the governor's mansion to the two chambers of their legislature, led by the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and California, and all the East Coast states. And that's where we're going to file those lawsuits. There's going to be lawsuits after lawsuits. They're going to number, if there were 800 or more, almost 1,000 that were filed during the first Trump administration, 80% of them successful, double that number now. Double that number, because Donald Trump is coming in with 100 or more executive orders ready for his signature. A pardon list of 2,000 people, including the Jan 6 defendants, that he's going to pardon on day one, leading to lawsuits. Now, the pardons we're not going to be able to do a darn thing about. That's absolutely immune, as the Supreme Court interpreted the immunity doctrine for Donald Trump. But the rest, every time he steps over the line or out of line about his executive orders violating law or the Constitution, boom, we run into federal court related to that. And Kris Mayes and these attorney generals in these 17 states and Kris Mayes are going to be leading the charge, filing these lawsuits on behalf of these states. All of these states, when they file, when you hear the state of California filed, the state of New Jersey filed, New York, New Jersey, California all got together in a case, it's the attorney generals and their offices, budgeted by their legislature, that are bringing these cases. So Kris Mayes is going to go forward with her criminal prosecution of these people, whether Donald Trump likes it or not. And any attempt to try to take away federal funding related to it is going to get dragged into the courts and get tied up in the courts and maybe up to the United States Supreme Court. And we'll see what the Supreme Court does now that they've created and they've unleashed this monster, this Frankenstein president who's roaming the countryside, right? Raping and pillaging and burning down villages. We're going to see what they're going to do next. But we're going to tee it up in lawsuits for sure. Just like I don't expect Fulton County, almost got tongue-tied there, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis in Georgia. She's not dismissing hers either. And by the way, bad news for Donald Trump. She got reelected on November the 5th as well in Georgia as the Fulton County DA. And I'm going to talk about that in a separate hot take, what's going on in Georgia. But Arizona leading the charge. I expect Wisconsin to do the same thing. Michigan to do the same thing. They've all got active investigations and prosecutions against Donald Trump on the criminal side or against his henchmen. And that we're going to follow it right here. But I am encouraged, and I wanted to bring that to you, that the attorney generals are not laying down and just throwing in the towel and going, oh, the American people spoke. You know, he got it again. No, that doesn't change their prosecutorial focus. Crimes were committed. Grand juries indicted. It would be disrespectful to our grand jury process, our jury process, to let these people off the hook because their fearless cult leader got elected. The answer to that is no. We're going to follow all these things. What's going to happen in New York with the sentencing of Donald Trump and an immunity decision there by Judge Merchan? What's going to happen with Fani Willis? I'm sure who's encouraged by the fact that she got reelected to do that job in Fulton County, Georgia, right? And the indictment situation there. And here, Kris Mayes, once again, who said, I got an indictment through a grand jury. I owe it to the people of the state of Arizona to continue with it. And these 18 people, including Mike Roman, a very unhappy Mike Roman, who was in charge of Donald Trump's presidential get out the vote campaign in 2020, Rudy Giuliani, who's on the balls of his ass, who's basically penniless and homeless and about to be thrown in jail in New York for failing to turn over all of his worldly possessions to pay off $150 million defamation judgment that he earned in 2020, the first time around. All of these people, you know, it reminds me of that famous song. I've got clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right, and here I am stuck in the middle with you. We're here. We're here for it. We hope you are too. Take a moment, help us build this channel. This channel is our channel. Together, we're building it with our bare hands. With your help, hit the subscribe button. And I do hot takes like this one about 5-6 times a day. I've got other contributors from the Midas Touch universe. I've got new shows that are only here on this particular new pro-democracy channel, like Unprecedented, about what else? The United States Supreme Court every week, and the rest of our content. So until my next hot take, I'm Michael Popok, and I'm reporting. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.